Did you know that a single mistake in your payment application can delay your payment by days or even weeks? Imagine doing all the work but not getting paid on time. That's frustrating, right? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a flawless payment application that gets approved quickly. I'll also show you how to apply the retention, recover the advance payment, and deal with the materials on site. And let's start. Hello and welcome to Cost Engineering Professional. I am Ahmed Adel, and here I help you develop the required skills and enhance your knowledge to elevate your cost engineering career. So if this is what you want, you can quickly subscribe. And let me show you now how to do the payment application. So as you can see here, I have a project. It's a small sample project where I have site works, substructure, superstructure, and masonry works. And I have a contract here, let's say with 500,000, and I'm going to execute this contract in 5 months. And I want to start doing the payment application now. So the first thing I want to do is to have 6 columns here. So I'll say previous, current, and total. And these will be percentages, progress. So I'll put a percentage here, or progress. Then I can copy this and have it same but as amount. So progress and amount. And then I'll have all border here. This is the template. And we can have some lines like that. Okay, and down we'll have all borders as well. And I'll just copy this total formula and paste it here under the amount. So I'm just summing these columns. Now always the current will be equal to the total minus the previous. In the progress and in the amount as well. Always the current is equal to total minus previous. Then here I have previous amount will be equal to the previous progress multiplied by the amount and $sign the column G. I am fixing this column. Why? So that when I copy this formula and paste it here in the total amount, I am multiplying the total percentage by the amount here. And these 3 columns will be percentage. And let's have some decimals like this. So all I have to do now is to copy this and apply it everywhere. As you can see. For the percentages, the total percentage will be equal to total amount divided by the contract value, and I'll also $sign the column here. And same for both previous and current. So I have something that looks like that. And we will be updating the progress now, but let's continue first. Here, let's merge these 3 cells and call them work done. So I have the work done here. And basically the work done will be equal to this. And this is the previous work done. And the total work done will be equal to this. And the current again will be equal to total minus the previous. So I have something that looks like that. Now let's copy this cell here and call it recovery of advance payment. And to recover the advance payment, again the current will be equal to total minus previous. And here I'll say 0.15 into the work done. So I'm assuming that the advance payment is 15% and we are recovering like that. And I'll copy this here. We have one more thing, which is the retention. And the retention will be, let's say, 10% from the contract value. So 0.1 into, again, the work done. Here and here for the previous and the total. And again, the current will be total minus previous. The next part, we have the materials on site. Materials on site. And we also have the recovery of the materials on site. Like that. Now again, the current will be equal to total minus previous, but I want to make these 4 cells in red. And I'll explain why now. Then the next part will be the net amount. Net amount excluding VAT. Okay, and I need just some line here, top border. And for the net amount will be equal to work done minus recovery of advance payment minus the retention plus the materials on site minus the recovery of materials on site. If you want to see this part, just go back a little bit in the video and see it again. And I'll just take three totals here. So the total for the previous and the total for the current and for the total. Regarding the VAT, some countries we apply the VAT here to this net amount, like after you get the net amount you apply the VAT and this becomes your invoice value. And in some other countries the VAT is actually applied to the work done before you do all of this. So basically the client will be releasing the VAT but retaining the amount. But let's not complicate, I'll keep it at this level for now. So now we are doing payment application number 1, and when you are doing payment application number 1, the previous will be 0. So I'll put 0 here everywhere for all the items. Now we are at the end of month number 1. So this is payment application number 1. And I'll assume that this project will be executed in 5 months. And in the first month, what we will do the piles and the excavation. So end of the first month, let's say that piles are completed 100%. And let's expand these columns a little bit. And let's say excavation as well is completed by 100%. So all my formulas are running, as you can see here. I'm just getting a total work done of 37,000 and this is 7.2%. And the previous progress is 0 and all of these good stuff. Now regarding the material on site, here everything, all the formulas that I put here are working fine, but just the material on site, there are two ways to deal with the material on site. Either you can transform this amount into progress. So let's say, for example, I finished the piles and the excavation and I supplied some steel for the pile caps. So we can say, for example, that it's 15%. I supplied some steel for 4,500, so I am changing or I am putting the material on site as progress. Sometimes the client or the consultant will not allow you to do that. So in that case, you will have to use the material on site down here. And how to do that? Material on site, again, the previous is 0 because there was no material on site before. And let's assume that you are claiming 5,000 material on site. So on top of whatever was there before, we added 5,000. Without this, the amount should have been less by 5,000. If you remove this 5,000, you see your payment is 27,000. But when you add this 5,000, the payment becomes 32,750. And I'll assume that this will be our payment number 1. So here, let's say payment number 1. And this will be your payable amount excluding VAT. And I'll put it here. I'm just pasting this as a value. I'll tell you why just in a moment. And actually before payment number 1, we received an advance payment. That's why we are recovering here 15%. So the advance payment that we received was equal to 0.15 multiplied by the contract value. So I'm assuming that up to this point, by the end of the first month, I got the advance payment 15%, which is 76,000, and payment number 1, which is 32,000. Now let's assume that we are doing the payment application number 2 by the end of the second month. So the first thing you should do is to make everything 0. The total should become previous. Like that. So you are getting a 0 here. And you have to do the same thing for the material on site. Your previous material on site should be 5,000, so there is no material on site in payment application number 2. And also I need to recover some of the material on site. So we didn't recover anything before, so the previous is 0. And let's say we are going to recover 3,000 from the 5,000 that we have given in the previous payment. So because I don't have any progress here, I am getting a negative because I am just deducting. But we need to add the work done as well. So let's say that by the end of the second month, we finished half of the substructure works, let's say. So let's say we have finished the pile caps and we have finished the neck columns. And let's say we have finished 50% of the ground beams and 50% of the backfilling. So this is our progress for the second month. We have finished these things. And what is happening now? I'm getting a net payment of 40,000. So I'll keep it like that. And we will say that this will be our payment application number 2. Client will pay us this 40,000. And this is payment number 2. Now when I go to do payment number 3, again, the first thing I'll do, this should be previous, as you can see here. So this becomes 0. And there are no changes in the material on site. But for the recovery here, this 3,000 should come here as well. So I am not recovering anything this payment. But if I want to recover the balance 2,000, then I can say that the total recovery of material on site is 5,000. So I am recovering another 2,000 from the material on site that was paid before. And what is our progress here? Let's say that we have finished the backfilling full and we have finished the slab on grade full. And let's say columns 100%, beams 50, slab 50, staircase 50. So this is our progress for the third payment. Actually, the progress here is 30%. It was in the range of 10% in the first 2 payments. That's completely fine. But here, what I am getting a payment of 120,000. So I'll assume that this will be my payment number 3. 120. So this is payment number 3. When I go now and do payment number 4, I'll just copy the total and make it previous. So 0. And here, again for the material on site, I've recovered everything. So this will come here, the 5,000. I am not recovering anything more from the material on site. And all I have to do now is to update the progress. So we are doing payment number 4. So I'll assume that ground beams completed. Actually, it should have been completed since the last payment, but that's fine. And we'll say that beams are completed and the slabs are completed, parapet completed, staircase, and let's say 20% of the block works completed as well. So I'm getting here a payment again of 120,000 and something. So I'll just copy this here and paste it as a value. And I'll say that this is payment number 4. Okay. Now payment number 5, when I do payment number 5, the last payment in the project, again, the total should be previous. So that's 0. And here I have 0 everything. And I just, by the end of the 5th month, the project is completed. So the block 100% and here also 100%. So I completed 100% of this contract and I have recovered the full advance payment because as you can see, the advance payment is 76,000. So here recovery of advance payment, total recovery is 76,000. So all the advance payment is recovered and the materials on site, everything is recovered as well. As you can see, total material on site this much and the previous this much. There is no current and all of it has been recovered already. So let's put here payment number 5. And how much payment number 5 will be 70,000. And there is one more thing, which is the retention, because all this time the retention was working with us here. So every payment we are retaining 10% from the work. So here, let us just write retention. And how much is our total retention? What is the total amount retained with the client so far? This 51,000. So I'll just copy this and put it here. And why I am doing this, I'll show you now. Let's just put a line here. And if I take a summation, I will see that the total is 512,400, which is exactly equal to the contract value. So what is happening here? We got an advance payment of this much, and then the 5 payments, this what we got in each payment, and then there is a retention which is still with the client, which is 51,000. So when that retention is also released after the DLP, then we got the full amount of our contract, which is 512, as you can see here. And I leave a link in the description if you want to download this payment application template and start using it. And in the next video, I'll show you how to automate the payment application through using VLOOKUP formula and a progress sheet. And the link to that video will be here next to me once it is released. But for the time being, I'll let YouTube decide on which video you should watch next. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.